It's the International Soccer Preview. We are Soccerphiles Canada. Welcome to Series 30, looking at the players of the 2025 Gold Cup. This episode is looking at the players of Jamaica. Part 1, the candidates. Here we go. Because in section 3 we are welcoming new listeners because we're releasing this as a short version of part 1 on Jamaican players. So I'll just speak to the new listeners briefly. In the full version, we introduced the candidates and their likelihood of making the squad. We gave some biographical information on the players more likely to make it. So if you want those details, you can go to the full version. We also give our reasons for putting the candidates at the level that we put them. So we describe basically their participation over the past year and a half to 2 years. Okay, however, in this part 1, we're not concerning ourselves with predicting starters, but there will be a part 2 coming out when the squad lists are published, and at that time we'll consider or make predictions as to who the starters will be. So let's review the candidates. This will be a review for people who listen to parts or the first 2 sections. We begin with the manager. We have Heimer Hallgrimsson, the Icelandic manager, going out. He's actually manager of Ireland now. He went out after the 2024 Copa America, and in came England manager Steve McLaren, who will guide Jamaica through this tournament. For goalkeepers, we have 2 definite candidates in Andre Blake and Jamali Waite, and then a likely candidate in Shakan Davis. And those are the only 3 candidates, so probably all 3 of them will be chosen. We do have candidates at the possible but unlikely or seemingly off the squad level. And if you're looking at the YouTube, you can see the names, but we're not going to cover players at those levels in the review here unless we have something burning to say about them. Let's move on to defenders, and we look at central defenders. Jamaica sometimes uses a 3-man defense, so there's quite a few candidates here, beginning with the definite candidate Ethan Pinnock, and then 3 likely candidates: Deshaun Bernard, Damian Lowe, and Richard King. We have 4 possible candidates: Michael Hector, Mason Holgate, Fitzroy Cummings, and Kyle Ming. And for the players below that likelihood level, we'll just mention veteran Adrian Mariappa, seemingly off the squad now. Let's go to left backs. We have no candidates at the definite level, but we have Amari Bell at the likely level, and then 2 possible candidates in Greg Lee and Christopher Ainsworth. Also there we have a departing veteran in Kemar Lawrence, seemingly off the squad. That is left backs. Let's go to right backs. We do have a definite candidate here, and it is Dexter Lembikisa. No candidates at the possible level, and Tavon Gray. Sorry, no candidates at the likely level. Tavon Gray is at the possible level, and again, a few candidates below that level who we won't mention. Okay, on upfield to the defensive kind of end of the midfield, and we will begin with defensive midfielders here. We have a definite candidate in Joel Latibaudiere. He's actually coded as a central defender and does play as a central defender, but in this period since the 2023 Gold Cup, he features more as a defensive midfielder and is a definite candidate. We have a likely candidate in Isaac Hayden, and then 3 possible candidates: Casey Palmer, Jashon Anglin, and Sule Makala, who is actually coded as a central defender, but also has most significantly been playing here. Okay, we also have central midfielders, but none at the definite or likely level. Two possible candidates, though, Caroy Anderson and Demario Phillips there. Left and right midfielders, they don't really use a 4-3-3 formation much, so we don't really have any candidates there. Uh, we move to the attacking midfielder and have one versatile attacker who kind of shows up everywhere on the front line, and that's Leon Bailey. So we kind of recoded him as a versatile attacking midfielder, even plays as a forward sometimes. In general, the Jamaican attackers do move around a bit, just he moves around a bit more than, or let's say he's a bit harder to pin down than the other ones. For left attackers, we have Damari Gray as a definite candidate, and as a likely candidate, Reynaldo Cephas or Cephas. I'm still going to figure out how to pronounce that. And then we have a possible candidate in Alex Marshall. Right attackers, we have Bobby De Cordova-Reid as a definite candidate, Kahim Dixon as a likely candidate, and Norman Campbell as a possible candidate. Central attacking midfield, they don't use the position much, but we do have a player coded as an attacking midfielder, Tyreek McGee, and he is at the likely level. And we also have, intriguingly, Omari Hutchinson at the possible level. Okay, yes, let's move on to the forwards. And here we have Mikel Antonio at the definite level, and then Warner Brown and Shamar Nicholson, both at the likely level. And then we have a possible candidate in Romario Williams. We actually have 9 candidates below that, but we won't introduce them unless they are selected for the squad, in which case we'll introduce them in part 2. Let's move on to the next order of business, which is a review of injuries. So we begin with goalkeeper Andre Blake. He had been injured a couple of times during this period, but even after the March 2025 games, he got yet another injury, and he is out with a knee injury since early May, and an unknown return date for Andre Blake. So we have to put him in the unknown category, and hopefully we'll be able to update that in part 2. We have Mikel Antonio out with a broken leg in early December, and he's been out of action since then. However, believe it or not, he's due back on June 1st, so maybe available for the tournament here. We're going to put that in the close call category there, because at least it'll take him a little while to get back to fitness levels. The next is Bobby De Cordova-Reid. So we're looking at big names here. All 3 of these candidates were at the definite level. Bobby De Cordova-Reid was out since early May with a muscle injury. Those can be tricky and unpredictable, but he is expected to return back on June 9th. So we're going to say expected back for Bobby De Cordova-Reid. And then finally, not finally, we have 2 more to talk about, but the final injury is Deshaun Bernard, and he is a likely candidate for us here, a central defender, and he has been out with a knee injury from mid-February to the present, and he's not expected back until June 30th, so that is well after the tournament begins. So we would have to say Deshaun Bernard is out of contention here. All right. The other one we want to mention is Damari Gray. We don't think this really affects his international thing here. Just a weird little tag on the main source that I use, and I'll quote the tag specifically. It says special leave dash cross competition. So we don't really know what that means, or whether it involves club play or international play or both. Now, I have seen this sometimes used when a player kind of joins another team halfway through the season, and so isn't allowed to play, say, in Champions League games or something like that. But I'm not sure what it means at the international level. But honestly, we don't think that'll affect Demarai Gray. Hopefully, we'll learn a little bit more about it before we get to part two. So that is the injury situation for Jamaica, and we'll move on to closing thoughts. So for all teams, we're asking, will the top teams be sending their best? And that's always a question with Jamaica. I got to say, the big names like Demarai Gray, Mikel Antonio, and Bobby De Cordova-Reid have been pretty good at showing up for the team, and have been very good at over the years of showing up for the tournament. But it has been several years in a row now that they've been asked to come to a tournament, and kind of wonder when players will start saying no, like some of the top team players are expected to for this cup. So we won't really know until we see the lineup in part two. But the burning question always is, will these teams be sending their best players? Okay, let's preview part two then. So in part two, our focus will be predicting the starters, but we'll go through the list that we've created today and tell you which ones made it. So basically, any of the definite or likely candidates who don't make it would be a surprise. Any of the possible but unlikely or seemingly off the squad players would be surprise inclusions. And there's always a couple of new players who come into the picture. We'll also be updating injuries there, and as I said, trying to predict the starters. So we hope both part one and part two, which will come a bit later, will help prepare you to enjoy Jamaica in the Gold Cup. We would like to thank Future Bass for the wonderful music you hear in this podcast. The title is called Alone.